Lisa McVev is a young girl working in a small fast food cafe. Despite her youth, she handles her duties well and approaches any client with ease in the evening. Lisa reluctantly returns home as she has been living with her grandmother and her partner for several years. Maris takes advantage of the situation and visits the girl at night to take her by force on the way home. Lisa notices a car parked not far away, but doesn't attach any importance to it. In the morning, she decides to write a letter to her younger sister because she's tired of Diane's bullying, and Maurice exploits the girl, taking away the money she earned at the cafe. She dreams of a normal life, but it's impossible since the mother is against her daughter's return and shows open indifference towards her before the next night shift. Maris reminds Louise of what awaits her at home, since today is daytime, issuing a salary, showing an unhealthy interest in the girl. The man hugs her, disgusting himself after working whole day long. Lisa says goodbye to her boss, takes the money, and returns home. A car passing nearby turns sharply and pursues her, but soon it passes by. A little later, Lisa notices an empty car in the parking lot and is immediately attacked, the driver hiding behind the van. Bob drags the girl into his car and threatens her with a weapon. Lisa does not resist, as this will lead to more terrible consequences, and she allows herself to be taken advantage of. Bob takes the girl by force but does not let her go, because he liked her tying up the unfortunate Lisa. The maniac takes her to his home. The blindfold slips a little from the girl's eyes, allowing her to examine the car's interior. She notices the word Magnum on the dashboard. Rising into the maniac's lair, the girl sees a green carpet on the steps and counts their number. She manages to glimpse the white-skinned kidnapper, who turns out to be left-handed in a desperate attempt to save herself. Lisa voluntarily undresses Bobby, then sends her to the bathroom, only to forcefully take her again after ryeing her. Placing her on the bed, the man continues to threaten her with a weapon, emphasizing the potential consequences of her difficult situation. Lisa recalls her loved ones, including her uncle, aunt, and younger sister, the only ones who truly love her despite her fear. Lisa reveals her real age is 20. When asked the next morning, the grandmother calls the police to report her granddaughter's disappearance. Betty, indifferent to Lisa's absence, dismisses the need to panic. The younger sister insists that Lisa wouldn't run away without warning her, and urges the officer to find her. Meanwhile, Lisa reminisces about the day she first found herself in Diane's house. Her grandmother warned her in advance that Maris would take the girl by force, and reacted to this with frightening calm. In the present tense, Bobby once again takes the girl with strength. Lisa understands that the maniac is worried about psychological trauma, and she starts influencing him. Asks for forgiveness for other women. This makes the men trust the victim, and he unties her hands. Detective Lops begins the search for the missing girl and communicates with the owner of the cafe where she worked at the same time. Bobby prepares a sandwich for the captive, and from a news report learns about the disappearance of an underage girl. Lisa is afraid to tell the truth and claims that it is another person believing the girl's words. Bobby takes her by force again. After this, Lisa asks to go to the toilet and tries to leave in the bathroom. She touches the furniture and equipment and leaves her fingerprints. She tries to remember every little detail so that in the future she can tell the police about it. Lisa continues to exert psychological influence on the maniac and supports him. She noticed that there is a telephone in the house, so when Bobby falls asleep, Lisa tries to call the police. However, Bobby notices this and threatens her with a pistol. The girl attempts to evoke pity for herself and mentions that she has a sick father at home who needs care simultaneously. She recalls a dialogue with her mother when she spoke about bullying from her grandmother, and her boyfriend Betty reacted calmly, even stating that her daughter deserved such treatment as a captive of the maniac. The girl persists in planting evidence, including a clump of hair and a hairpin. At the same time, she remembers how one day Lori came to visit her, and Maurice wanted to take advantage of the youngest sister. Realizing this, she was ready to kill Maurice if he touched her sister 26 hours after the abduction. Bobby decides to get rid of the captive and takes her to the forest. The maniac wanted to take the girl's life but did not dare to pull the trigger. Because Lisa begged for her life, the men ordered her not to remove the bandage and to wait for 5 minutes. He leaves, and then Lisa removes bandage and run for her life. He noticed Lisa running away and decided to catch her once again. However, the girl managed to hide behind one of the parked cars, and he was unsuccessful in finding Lisa. Upon returning home, Lisa tells her grandmother that she was abused, but Diane and Maurice do not believe her words. The men wanted to beat Lisa, but the grandmother does not allow this to be done because she needs to talk to the police. Diane informs the detective about what happened, but considers her granddaughter's story to be the fruit of a sick fantasy. She warned Lisa not to tell the police about what Morris was doing to her at the police station. The girl informs the policeman about the maniac, but there are no bruises on her body. Lisa explains that she gave in to the kidnapper to survive, but the detective increasingly doubts her sincerity. A little later, female officers talk to the girl to check if she is telling the truth. Lisa describes in detail the interior of the car, the number of steps, and the apartment's layout. The detectives initially doubt her ability to remember in a stressful situation, but she convinces them because she's determined to bring the criminal to justice at any cost. Meanwhile, at the police station, detectives are working on a major case attempting to catch a maniac responsible for the abduction of 9 girls. The crimes lack a clear signature except for a common thread, a red fiber found on all the victims. Sergeant Larry Pinkerton, specializing in sexual crimes, is assigned to Lisa. After hearing her story, he learns about a black car with a red interior, the word Magnum on the dashboard, the number of stair steps, green carpet, and evidence in the maniac's apartment. The sergeant believes Lisa, as it seems implausible to fabricate such details. Lori discovers the situation and asks her mother to bring Lisa home, but Betsy doesn't care about her later. The girl creates a portrait of the Bobby, and when detective asked her about more, she finally revealed Maurice also abusing her for several years. Acting decisively, the sergeant arrests Lisa's grandmother's boyfriend and assists the girl in packing her things. He takes her to his colleague house so she can stay there for some days. Lisa continues to disclose more details about the kidnapper. At some point, Larry understands that Lisa's abuser and the serial maniac are one and the same, and the analysis of the girl's belongings confirms this assumption, realizing that Lisa is in danger. The sergeant transports her to an institution for the protection of adolescent and introduces her to his daughter, girls of the same age. Larry sincerely wants to help Lisa, fearing that his daughter could be in her place. Fortunately, she was able to survive while aiding the investigation. The girl agrees to revisit the location where Bobby left her before escaping. Reconstructing the route of movement from memory, Lisa provides details about the maniac's movements. Soon, one of the detectives notices a similar car, and deceiving the driver takes a photo of him at the station. Seeing the photo taken by the police, she confirms that it is Bobby. At night, Bobby was walking around. Suddenly, police force comes there, and they arrest him. When they check his apartment, they discover a hair clip, fingerprints, and other evidence that proves his guilt. The next morning, detectives inform the girl about the successful arrest, applauding her for her crucial help in capturing the dangerous maniac. Sometime later, Lisa calls Lori and expresses her gratitude to her sister, acknowledging her belief and influence in initiating the police investigation by discarding the farewell letter. Carol and Jim, her aunt and uncle, arrive to pick up their niece, taking her to their home. Lisa warmly hugs Sergeant Larry Pinkerton and bids him farewell. A couple of months later, Lisa sends a letter to her mother informing her that she has finally found happiness and a loving family. Real-life hero Lisa, the girl, joins the police force and becomes a deputy sheriff, specializing in investigating sex crimes, with Sergeant Larry remaining her best friend. Bobby was executed by lethal injection in 2019, 35 years after committing the crimes, and this is where the film concludes.
Hello.